We ready to start?
Well, you would think. I've been with trouble with my fingers are too slimy to work the thing. I'm not sorry. Anyway.
Turns out strawberry lace slime doesn't activate iPhone screens. Wow.
Wow.
It's meeting 6. And Fernando chose this week's film.
Indeed.
What made you choose it? Where did you hear about it?
I was just thinking what the next film would be, and the first idea that came to my mind was Ryan Gosling, and so
As usual.
I decided to search what movies he had been in, and the most recent one was Song to Song, I believe. Yep. I was also considering another one. I cannot remember the title, but the trailer of this film interested me a little bit more, in addition to the fact that it was directed by someone, and and I also watched some of the other trailers for the other movies that Terrence Malick had directed, and all of them interested me. There were only 3. But I decided to choose this one because of Ryan Gosling.
Nice.
Yes.
Did you like it?
Did I like it? Yes. I also watched a review where they spoke about both movies, Knight of Cups and Song to Song. The person recommended Knight of Cups better. But the ideas that he had, even though spoke badly of Song to Song, appealed to me. So that is why I decided to choose the film. And did I like it? I thought it was quite interesting. I wish I would like to see it again. I just saw it yesterday with Laura.
Yep.
And maybe I was a little bit tired, so I was also falling asleep at some parts of the movie. I did enjoy all of the scenery and, well, more or less the plot, although it was very confusing at times, including my inability to differentiate between different women.
I thought that was just me.
No, I had a
They
bit
definitely
of
cast fucking triplets, didn't they?
that. Pretty much. I thought there were 3 of them, were there?
Well, my issue was that I thought there were multiple people and there was only one for a long time.
No. Well, it didn't help that one of them changed their hairstyle. That was bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But overall, I did enjoy it. Once again, I just feel like I have to see it again to maybe appreciate it a little bit more. Although I do recognize that it was extremely weird that most of the narrative was done as a voiceover. I think.
Much of it, anyway.
Those are my impressions of the movie.
I read 2 reviews today about it, and one of them hated it, and one of them loved it, and I agreed completely with both. So I have no idea how I feel about this
So maybe
film.
you
I
both
think I
love it and
liked
hate
it,
it.
but also, definitely while I was watching it, did not enjoy it.
Okay.
But now that I'm looking back on it, I think actually it might have been brilliant. But at the time, God, what a struggle.
I felt the same way with Blade Runner that we watched recently. I only really enjoyed it after it had finished. That's not how I felt with this film. I didn't enjoy the film, and I haven't started appreciating it since it finished. There were a number of things that I liked a lot about the film, but overall, I was really waiting for it to end.
By the end, yes. It does not need to be over 2 hours long, I would say.
It felt like the director had... like a lot of films open with like an interesting peculiar way of telling a story, and then that sort of gets you used to the characters, and then they start having actual scenes with dialogue and characters in, and it feels like the whole film was just introduction. Yeah, and I found it
that's
unsatisfying. What did you think, Claire? Because we haven't actually talked about it at all.
No, that's true. I did not enjoy it. I felt like it was trying to be really poignant and stuff, and I just kept thinking, oh, well, that's not how people would stand in real life.
No, but I think that's not the point. Like, it's not meant to be in any way realistic or focusing on anything that's happening in their lives. I have no idea where any of them lived because they kept changing buildings.
Yeah.
Often, like, just between scenes. They'd be like, oh, they're in a different apartment now.
Which at the time I hated, but now looking back I think, wow.
So what did you like about it?
What did I like? I think gradually I grew to enjoy watching the characters awkwardly interact with each other. With very little speaking, and they would just cut away before anything really happened. In the middle of a conversation even, they would just cut to something else. Which I admire as a bold way of making a film. Not my favourite type of way of telling a story, but
you appreciate that they did something different and found that interesting. Okay.
Might have just been pretentious artsy bollocks.
It's a difficult line to tread, isn't it?
Yeah, I try not to let myself think this is pretentious artsy bollocks, because you can just say that about anything that's a bit unusual, and it's a good way to stop yourself from enjoying something that could be quite good. But
what do you think it was?
Was it pretentious? Maybe. That's not what I disliked about it.
Okay. What did you dislike about it?
I disliked... most scenes left me feeling frustrated. There was... It's interesting you say the conversations weren't intended to look like real conversations, because in a way they were more realistic than movie conversations. A lot of films, you have people, they're sort of set up a bit like stage plays still, where sort of the people walk in and they have a discussion and they very quickly hit on all the precise points, and no one says a word wrong, and then it wraps up nicely and moves on, and everyone speaks in a nice, loud, clear voice. And this film was a bit more murky, a bit more the way that people talk when they're having a conversation that they haven't rehearsed. And so to start with, I was thinking this really is a lot more naturalistic. This is a lot more realistic. But pretty soon I realised that no one talks like this, and nobody has conversations like these ones. Where you ask someone a question and then they just stare into the distance for 15 seconds and then the scene ends and you don't know what the answer to the question was. You don't know how that resolved itself.
You probably have a boyfriend, huh?
He told me I was pretty.
What's his name? Just tell me a complete lie. You can say anything you want to me. That's the fun about me.
I want to say most scenes just left me thinking there's no truth in this. There's nothing... I don't feel like I'm getting an insight into a character that feels real. I feel like I'm just watching some actors trying to do all the different emotions.
I think even though they didn't speak that much, you could still get a sense of the story from their body language and like the way they interacted with each other. In the next scene, obviously they cut away before you can get it in the whatever scene that happened. Well, like you got that Natalie Portman's character was becoming gradually more and more
rebellious.
Not rebellious, I wouldn't say, but like depressed and unhappy with Michael Fassbender. I don't know any of the characters' names because I don't think that they say them at all. in the
I don't
film.
think they do.
Just like
Oh, that was
Divine
Michael
Comedy.
Fassbender, right?
Yeah.
So, Natalie Portman,
Mhm.
was she the one that ended up with Ryan Gosling?
No, that was Rooney Mara.
That's Rooney Mara.
Natalie Portman was the blonde waitress who married Michael Fassbender and then killed herself in the end.
Oh yeah, that was really sad.
Natalie Portman, of course, was in Leon the Professional. She was the little girl,
Yeah, but
Matilda.
they could have been the same person.
They
Okay.
did look very similar, I thought.
I believe that Natalie Portman is also participates in the first film that was made of this style by the director called
No.
Knight of Cups.
Knight of Cups.
Yes.
Okay.
Night with a K.
Yes.
Oh wow, I was saying that as a joke.
Cups with a C.
No, with a K also.
Mm.
Yeah. I felt like her suicide did not seem natural. That was one of the things I did not enjoy. Like, I didn't.
You don't enjoy it.
So,
That's where conversation fell down. It could have maybe made that a bit more woven better into the story.
okay. I didn't. I didn't really get that she killed herself. I was watching it, and I don't know if I looked away for a second or if I blinked in the wrong place or if I was just.
No, I'm sure you
fit.
didn't.
But I was watching it, and like she was looking sad, and then she was just dead next to like a swimming pool,
Yes, exactly.
and that's enough to conclude that she killed herself. Yeah, okay.
Well, it was just after she'd been speaking to the prostitute, wasn't it?
Hmm.
And I think we were supposed to get the impression that she realised that's what she was doing.
Hmm.
That in exchange for money, she was being intimate with this man who she didn't love or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think we see her stepping into the water. maybe
Yeah, I
not
think we
so
even
sad.
see her swimming, don't we? Or maybe not.
I think that's Rooney Mara. Getting
God,
difficult.
okay. Yeah.
She
Rooney Mara goes swimming at one point in Michael Fassbender's glass house of water.
Yeah, where he's looking at her
Oh,
from the
yeah.
other side. Yeah.
I think that's a very abstract interpretation of prostitution because also in economic terms, I believe that money, as in current, the notes and coins, is referred to as fiat money, and they refer as money as anything that you can trade services or just money. They use the word money to refer to everything that you can use to get services from someone else.
Who uses money to mean that?
Well, in economics, the people that do
Right.
economics use the word money to mean just
Resources.
resources.
yeah.
What's your point?
That I believe that it is an unfair representation of what she was doing with Michael Fassbender. I don't think she was prostituting herself.
No, I don't think so either, but she felt something
I think she
in the
felt like she was
prostitute's words that she identified with.
She was giving away sex and maybe love in return for money, right?
Well, she was in return for just money.
the lifestyle and the
In return for being able to live in a big house and go to amazing rock concerts and have
I would do
an
the
amazing
same.
swimming pool.
Is that a bad thing?
Maybe.
Well, that's okay. I suppose.
It wasn't for her.
Yeah, so I
Felt
guess
like
the classical point of view is she's only supposed to give away those things to people, to somebody because she loves them, and maybe she didn't love him.
Oh.
And I guess that's why she saw herself as acting as a prostitute.
Very harsh on her then. I believe that is why she committed suicide.
because she was so harsh on herself.
Yes.
Well, I mean, because I think it would be...
She should have spoken to someone.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, she should.
Um,
She should have spoken to a counsellor.
and
She was sad. She should have seen it.
I
But
guess.
also it's not her fault
No.
What is not her fault?
that she didn't speak to a counsellor.
Oh, yes.
Not everyone has the means to help themselves.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Or the inclination. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Some
clearly,
people are in relationships with really controlling, horrible people as well.
like him.
Michael Fassbender, who I believe is like that in real life. So
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah. I'm
It's
pretty
like
sure
that
he
in
has
real
a
life.
conviction for
What a
domestic
rock
abuse.
star.
Oh, God.
I
Yeah.
did tell Laura that I wanted to be like Michael Fassbender when I
I was
grew
very
up.
sceptical of that comment, given how abusive he was. Yeah.
So has Michael Fassbender like, right, we want like an abusive creep. I know just the guy. He won't even have to act. Has that
Was
got
Chris
him
Brown
roles?
busy? Horrible.
Yeah.
I don't really know who Chris Brown is.
I think that was his name, the guy that beat up.
Yeah.
Beyonce.
I remember.
Rihanna. One of these
Okay.
pop stars.
Yeah. One of these
Popular
pop
stars.
they have these days. Yeah.
Oh, miss the good old days. Perry Como.
Where were we? Yeah, so I think the reason I didn't get that she'd killed herself was that she was just lying, like, next to the pool in a way that she couldn't possibly have just drifted, and therefore it seemed like she'd gone swimming and got out of the pool and then collapsed from
So,
a heart attack.
I think
or
the
something.
pool had a particularly shallow area that was for, like, just kind of paddling in, and that's where she was lying.
Okay, like a little shore.
Because you see her sort of walking
Mhm.
into it, and she's definitely, like, wasn't Jesus. She definitely wasn't, like, walking on the water. I think it was just, like, maybe a sort of 5 centimetre layer of water where she'd gone to
Okay.
lie down.
That gradually got deeper and deeper.
Or maybe there was a step, I don't know.
Wait, I also did not, as in I did not realize that she had committed suicide. I didn't realize that she was dead, but it was not until you told me that she had.
I may be wrong. I mean, I just interpreted it as that because she'd been gradually getting more and more.
Mm.
I mean, that fits with the story, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Be weird if she just died by accident after. Well, maybe it wouldn't.
Or maybe she died naturally.
No, that would be
Natural
really
causes.
sort of unsatisfying. And there's this whole narrative arc about her character, and then she just randomly dies, and that's the end of the film. Though perhaps it would be more realistic. I don't know.
Or the end of the
Because people
film.
do just
I
die.
kept because you said the film was 2 hours, so I was patiently awaiting the 2 hour mark.
It's
The
2
2
hours
hour
and
mark
8 minutes.
came and went. Are you sure it was even that? It felt longer than that. And they had about 5 times where I thought, right, this is the end.
Oh,
They
like
couldn't,
Lord
they
of the
couldn't
Rings.
keep going. Oh, this is the end. Oh, they're playing music.
Yeah.
That's the end.
I thought it was going to end. Yeah, way earlier. I think like before Ryan Gosling and the girl
Hmm.
broke up in the first place. I thought it was gonna end.
Oh, wow.
And that was like an hour, but it felt like it had been like most of my life by that point.
You could have done a second PhD.
It really went on, didn't it?
I only found it dragging later on, to be
Okay.
fair. It was just what I was like, right, okay, we all know the conclusion. Can we get to the point now? We know the conclusion. This isn't the scene with the conclusion. But I found through it, I wasn't too bored. I was maybe frustrated by the lack of.
I find
Dialogue,
yes,
but-
myself agreeing with your position. I did not feel that it was excessively long. Whereas I have felt that with other movies. I cannot give an example right now, but I've certainly felt that, and I did not feel that feeling this time.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. Ryan Gosling's very sweet.
I love
He's always
Ryan.
I
very
love him
Gosling.
so
Yeah, he's
much.
brilliant.
And I get the impression that, whereas maybe Michael Fassbender's really awful in real life, I get the impression Ryan Gosling is really lovely in real life.
I mean, you have no evidence. for it.
Yeah, we have no basis for that.
Because all of the films he's in, he's really lovely. It's like, I bet Tom Hanks is really lovely in real
He's
life.
supposed to be really lovely. There's stories
Yeah.
about how
Have
lovely
you
he is.
seen Only God Forgives?
No.
Because he's not that lovely in that film.
Is he like a big villain?
He's somehow wasn't he so I guess kind-hearted, but he's meant to be like a villain.
Mm-hmm. Because in The Circle he was sort of a villain, but
Oh, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
But also he was really charming and everyone kind of loved him.
And he was just lost. He'd lost perspective in The Circle.
Yeah, that's
He
what we'll
wasn't a
say.
bad person.
He did have a sort of a scheming plan, didn't he?
Okay, I suppose so.
But yeah, you still get the impression that like, oh, Tom Hanks, he's lovely.
Oh.
But you're right, I don't actually know. But Ryan Gosling seems lovely.
Yes, he does.
He's named after a baby goose. How unpleasant can he be?
No, geese are pretty awful.
I bet it's a baby one.
True.
When Ryan Gosling and Rooney Mara, oh God, he has so much trouble with that, were sort of dating and potentially living together, I'm not quite sure, and they went to, I believe, Mexico with Michael Fassbender.
They did go to Mexico.
Michael Fassbender must have known that they were together, because
Yes.
they were all, like, together.
Yeah.
But was she sleeping with Michael Fassbender
Yes.
at that point?
No.
No?
Well, I don't know. But my impression was at the start, we weren't seeing things happening at the same time. I don't think that she was having an affair with with Michael Fassbender or Ryan.
Oh.
I think maybe that they were going back and forward between the flashbacks were her with Michael Fassbender. That was my
Oh,
interpretation.
but the
And
two
then you
relationships
pointed
were
out,
totally separate.
yeah, you said that she was having an affair.
Because there was a scene where
She
he
definitely
tells her.
Did have an affair, I think.
Because yes,
she's
he
a-
tells her that she should tell him about them.
Yeah.
So I believe that she was definitely having.
I think she went back
Okay.
because she was definitely in some kind of threesome with Natalie Portman at one point. Because he says, "Tell me about the teacher. Did you do everything he asked you to do?"
Oh, yeah, and then we
yeah.
see the scene.
Yeah. But the impression I got at the start, which was why I was very confused at the beginning, was that they were cutting back and forth between... But I may be wrong about that, I don't know.
Yeah, I to start with thought that it might just be they had two separate things and that it's still sort of a betrayal because she never told Ryan Gosling. But we actually see her with Michael Fassbender standing moodily at a window.
You'll have to be more specific.
You remember that scene where they stand moodily at the window. But she says to him, "I can't do this anymore. It's not fair to him," or something.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And that gave me the impression that she was actually cheating on him. But I don't know, I guess it must be really bad storytelling if we couldn't even work that out when it's basically
Maybe
the
it
most
doesn't
crucial.
matter to the story.
It's
Maybe
like the
that's not
only
the
thing
point
that
of the
happened
film.
in the film.
The film wasn't about things that happened, was it? It was about
It
people,
was about people
standing
moving their hands,
silently, touching each other gently.
touching each other's belly
Particularly in
buttons.
the abdomen.
Particularly Rooney Mara's midriff. Can we
Yeah.
talk about the fact that
There were a lot of
they were just
midriffs.
touching women all the time?
Were
Yeah.
they just touching the women?
They were specifically, I would say that the male gaze was very apparent in this film. Have you
And
heard
the
of that?
camera was focusing on the women a lot.
Yeah, well, just that the whole film orientated you towards women's bodies more than the
Okay.
men's. They don't really linger on men's naked bodies, or like the skin of the
they'd
men.
like
but they-
show you her touching his belt or something, and then he'd be laying his hands all over her neck and stuff. Yeah, I think there's something in that. It did occur to me when she met the woman with the dog, and they went back to her place, and I was thinking, oh, where's this going? Oh, I see where this is going. It's like, yes, of course they. So there's a girl-on-girl scene, so they'll have a good 10 minutes of just these two women touching each other. And I thought they wouldn't put in a two blokes scene. It just wouldn't be
Yeah.
Do you know
what
why?
they want to do with
I
this
could
film.
have imagined a scene like that in that film
Okay.
with Michael Fassbender
Ryan
and his
Gosling.
possession of power convincing Ryan Gosling
Oh, wow.
to take part in something he didn't want to do or did want to do and felt unsure about or whatever.
I suppose if the priority for the filmmaker had been making an interesting story, maybe they'd have done that. But I think the priority was, as you say, nice close-ups of semi-naked women,
Particularly their belly buttons.
particularly their belly buttons.
With tiny, tiny, tiny waists.
Yeah. And, I guess there's a place for
So
that.
She was
doesn't it?
extremely thin.
Clearly this wasn't meant to be a film entirely about storyline. There were a lot of, I think what we were meant to appreciate was just the beauty of it. So they were in front of loads of beautiful landscapes and they had lots of cute fluffy animals in various scenes.
Tiny children with no relevance to...
Tiny children.
Seemingly unrelated to any
Who
of the
the fuck
characters.
was that little girl?
It was her
Just
niece.
Was it?
Was it?
Yeah.
That wasn't clear to me. There was just a little girl. I was like, cute little girl. In the same way that there was a donkey. It was like, cute donkey. And there was
Maybe it wasn't.
a
They
lead
were definitely
actress.
nieces and
Cute
nephews.
lead
'Cause
actress.
when she went home to her dad, she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I've disappointed you." And I think her idea was that our sisters had built a life and a family for themselves, while she was still floating around, not even in a relationship. If any. And I just assumed that once I'd seen those kids, I assumed that the one from earlier was one of them. Maybe it wasn't.
Okay.
Don't know.
Do you know what the film reminded me of? You won't have seen it, probably. The ethnographic film Leviathan.
I've
a
not
s-
seen that.
It's a sensory ethnographic film, so there's no dialogue whatsoever, there's no story, there's nothing. It's
What
about
does ethnographic mean?
anthropological, so...
What does anthropological mean? It means about people.
It's a
No,
documentary.
ethnography is the method that anthropologists use in their study. So an anthropological study would be an ethnographic study, essentially. Although they're slightly different, that's the easiest way I can think of it.
Does that mean that it is a documentary?
Yes, yeah, it's non-fiction. It's,
What happened in each scene?
It was like this, where nothing happens at all.
Yeah.
It's just very much about like the feel that you get from it. It's about like touch and sound rather than
God.
like any sort of linguistic narrative or anything. It's just fragmentary.
Like Fantasia. Disney's
Not even as
Fantasia.
like coherent as Fantasia. I feel like Fantasia, at least each individual scene has a kind of motion propelling it forward. Leviathan
Like-
and this, I feel like, just kind of swill around in people doing whatever they like do
Yeah.
with no purpose, really.
Now that you mention
Summary.
nothing happening, your comment reminded me of a book precisely called Games at Twilight, which is a collection of short stories, and that I really liked because nothing really happens in them. I believe it's just a description of some events in the life of random people, but they're very nice descriptions, and I really liked that collection of short stories that I highly recommend, by the way.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't recommend Leviathan.
You see, well, I do recommend Games at Twilight. And so maybe that was the point, that nothing really happens. You're just meant to admire what is happening.
And there was some beautiful stuff, like the... Oh, here's two swans, just two swans excellently framed in the middle of this thing with beautiful ripples of water. Just they captured some really beautiful stuff. And four really beautiful people. I think they definitely chose the pretty people for that
Yeah.
film.
Unrealistically pretty, given that one works in a diner. Not that people who work in diners aren't like, you know, Natalie Portman's like a different level of beautiful, isn't she?
Yeah.
She wouldn't work as a waitress.
Maybe she did.
Well, maybe she did. Maybe I'm being...
But
unfair.
she'd then go on and become really famous in her own right.
I believe Ryan Gosling definitely did have a job that is
I can see
along
that.
those lines.
I can see that.
think
I don't think
selling
Ryan
hot
Gosling is
dogs.
conventionally beautiful, though.
No, that's true.
No?
Yeah,
No, I
very
mean,
beautiful. But
He's very beautiful,
Yeah.
but I don't think he's like... If he wasn't charismatic and charming, I don't think he would be as attractive.
Okay.
Is he?
yeah, if he was a knobhead, he wouldn't be.
That's so much of what attraction is, though, right? Yeah.
So why is Michael Fassbender?
who's- Is Michael Fassbender conventionally beautiful?
Sort of rugged, isn't
Could you name a famous actor that is? Male actor?
A famous male actor that's conventionally beautiful. Chris Hemsworth.
Don't know.
Thor.
I haven't seen Thor.
Have you seen The Avengers?
I probably shouldn't have asked because I don't know who any actors are. No, I haven't seen any of the... I saw Black Panther.
George
I didn't see any.
Clooney.
No.
George Clooney. I know, yeah, so he's...
I don't think he's beautiful. Again, I think it's part charisma.
Is he handsome? Is he
No, he's
good
quite
looking?
handsome. I wouldn't say he's supremely handsome.
Okay.
We've gone off track here.
Well, this is...
Antonio
this is good.
Banderas.
He looks like a little cat.
I've only seen, yeah, I'm just picturing Puss from Shrek 2, who's not that beautiful.
Oh, for a cat, come on.
Can people be beautiful in the absence of something about their character coming through? Because you said a lot of that's about
I think
confidence.
the
and
Greeks
charisma.
would say yes, right? I think the Greeks would say that beauty is just things that are.
Okay.
Models.
Okay, but I'm thinking models are somehow look good because they've got a certain attitude on their face. They know how to pose for a camera, and that's most.
Yeah,
of
you
what
never
it
get
is.
a grinning model, do you?
True.
But if it's just they're beautiful, so that'll do. I guess you've got to have
Horror
something else.
films cast typically, I would say, maybe this is a massive generalisation. Horror films go for beautiful women who cannot act and have no charisma.
Okay.
Well,
Horror films.
I can't think of any
Can you
horror
think of any horror films?
No, I
that
can't think of
match
any
that?
specifically now.
Okay.
I'll look it up and I'll come back to you next week.
Great.
Can I see
Ryan
this?
Gosling.
Oh, he is very beautiful.
Chris Hemsworth. Good looking man. Fine.
That's now on your phone.
Keep that.
This conversation might get cut if I'm editing.
So, this is important stuff.
I forgot about that.
So, one thing that I found distractingly unrealistic to me, and maybe this is just that I've got that I'm wrong somehow. I can't see. So every single scene that had Michael Fassbender in, Michael Fassbender was just every part of the way he acted with anybody just screamed, "Get away from this man!" Just, this is a terrible person. Just from in that way, he acted really quite well. He did a good job. But I just found it so unbelievable that so many of the women would fall for him in some way or another, and I would think just that anybody in that situation would just have their whole brain screaming, "Get out of there! Don't go near this man or have anything to do with him."
I did not get that impression. I thought he was lovely. Until Laura said that he wasn't.
Michael
You didn't see
Fassbender.
that he was abusive in the film.
Until you mentioned that he was abusive.
Okay.
Oh.
Interesting.
See, some people don't notice it.
There was a lot of grabbing, a lot of like touching people that obviously didn't want to be touched.
Oh.
And
Towering over people.
Towering over people.
Asking women if they were afraid of him.
Yeah.
what they were afraid
why
of.
did they keep? Yeah. He kept saying that, and none of them answered. None of them answered
No,
any
that's
questions.
not true. One woman said spiders.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But
what are you
no,
afraid
then
of?
she answered properly.
What did she say again?
She said something about
Didn't she say
childhood.
nothing scares her?
No.
Or childhood scares her?
Or like, yeah,
Mm.
something to do.
Well, this being said, I did get the feeling that Natalie Portman did not want to marry him. I
Okay.
was like, oh, maybe you're making a mistake.
Oh, she definitely didn't look happy during the ceremony.
I didn't think she looked unhappy there either. She was just being very sultry.
Okay, I thought she was.
Do you think she was already regretting?
Yeah.
Well, she was voicing over how he said she could leave at any time with doubt in her voice. I think.
What does sultry mean?
Like broody, sort of moody, moving.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, I found that distracting. But if Fernando didn't think he was horrible, then maybe
I agree
Maybe the
with
women in
you,
the
but
story.
I also agree with you in that I feel that he was terrible, but I was quite attracted to him.
so are they falling for him because he's still a really good-looking man? And
No, I think even because he's terrible.
Everything okay?
Yes. Don't leave.
Let
Help
me
me.
put these down.
Help me.
What can I get for you?
I have a condition.
Yes.
I can't be left alone for more than 5 minutes.
Can I get you something else?
I'd like to hear you sing.
Okay,
Elephant.
I got it. I got you.
Why? Why?
Because my voice
Which
is
other
rough.
kids?
You're gonna get me fired.
Yep, that's the plan.
Cute.
What do you like to do?
oh well, there was the bit at the start where one of the actors, one of the female actors, well, the first line was, about wanting sex to be violent.
Oh yeah,
Rooney Mara.
That was
Rooney
Rooney
Mara.
Mara, so I guess that's
Runamari.
this sort of attraction to someone that's dangerous.
Yes, just like Grey with milk and sugar.
Oh, you
Oh
didn't.
my god.
What?
Film
A
club
monster.
over.
I'm not thinking Michael Fassbender. He's awful in
Was that
film.
Earl Grey with milk and sugar?
Yes.
Jesus. No, fine.
I was just sitting right here next to that.
Caroline have the laugh on the leaf.
Mm.
Oh, you can
No,
have
it's fine, you can have it. I was kidding.
Fine.
Does anyone mind if I have the last licorice also? Have you ever had these, Fernanda? Are they a British thing?
I'm not sure if they're British, but I've never had one.
They're disgusting.
Do you like licorice?
They're
I
terrible.
do like licorice.
Oh, you should try a few. So the black ones are pure licorice, and the other ones have just other stuff. These ones taste of orange, and there's some chocolate flavoured ones, and
And the
there's a
pink
sort of
ones,
strawberry tasting.
strawberry. I guess I'll try
Um,
the pink ones.
And these roll ones
They
are
might also
made with
be-
coconut.
Might also taste a little bit of onion.
If you like licorice, they're quite good.
It did not taste of licorice.
Mm.
You say it properly. You said licorice. That's how
would
to
you
say it.
Licorice.
Yeah, me too.
Wait, what did I say?
Licorice.
Not licorice.
Oh. Well, people do not understand what I say anyway.
That's not true.
That is true. I have offered licorice to so many people when they come to the office. Would you like to have some licorice? And they never understand what I say.
Alright.
That's because it's licorice.
I see. Well,
Which is not how you'd think from how it's spelt, but yeah. It's a sh.
No, it's not.
Maybe it's not.
It's literally written that way.
Oh, liquorice would be how it's supposed to be.
Maybe it is.
Maybe it
We're
is.
all fools.
Yeah.
Good copy.
What was everyone's favourite scene?
One where he leaned back in his chair and he fell over.
That was,
That
quite
was
funny.
pretty good.
Yeah, I liked that.
Yeah. Did he mean to do that? Did he do that on purpose?
I
I think so,
he did.
yes.
Yeah.
Because I'd have thought would be almost impossible to do that. It's like, have you ever tried to run into a wall? You just can't do it. Just your body stops you from doing it.
I think I could do it.
Right.
I've never tried.
It's so hard. It's like I've never tried it because it's terrible. But you can't bite your finger off because if you know there's a finger there, you're as hard as you try and as much as you think about it, you just your jaw could go through it easily. It'd be easier than biting through a carrot.
What about...
Just in case, like, don't
that's
try
just
to
a
bite off your
fail-safe in your
finger
brain to
if
stop
you are
you.
listening to this.
No one's listening to this.
Oh no, obviously, but just in case.
Anyway, you can't do it.
What about 22 Hours?
what the hell
Or the
am I
movie
talking about?
where he
He cuts his arm off, doesn't he?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
And then running into a wall. Have you seen The Great Beauty?
Was it called 127 Hours?
Maybe something. Yes,
Sorry,
The Great Beauty.
no.
Oh well,
It's a
there's
film.
Yeah, it is a film about life. And there's precisely a scene where a person just randomly runs into a wall because that's artistic.
Go.
Interesting.
But I have fallen off a chair backwards by leaning like that. So I just remembered why we talked about all this. And when you reach the tipping point, your whole body seizes up and your whole body just goes into total overdrive. You get this jolt of adrenaline to try and make this good and put your hands down and stuff. And to be able to just lean back and fall,
You must be able to just practice it though,
I
because
suppose so.
there's that scene in the famous one in Only Fools and Horses where Del Boy goes to lean on the counter
Yeah.
and the barman's lifted it and he just falls down and he doesn't like attempt to rescue himself, he just falls.
Mm,
So I think you can probably train your body not to
I suppose so.
like try to save.
Loads of weird homophobic stuff in that episode.
I think I've only seen that scene.
Yeah, okay.
There's a lot of homophobic stuff though, is there not?
Yeah, I
Or is
guess
that
just-
time?
BBC shows in the 80s. Yeah. What were the other things I wanted to say? Oh. Yeah, that was a good scene. I
No one
liked-
else has done a favorite scene.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I can't really remember anything. I find it really
Yeah.
difficult to remember things that aren't in a linear narrative.
Mm.
Like, I certainly couldn't remember what order things happened in this. Yeah, I can barely remember any. What was my favourite scene? Probably something with Ryan Gosling.
I liked in Mexico when they were getting kicked out of the bar as well.
I don't
When
remember
they were
that.
getting like dragged out of the bar.
Oh
It's
yeah.
gone.
That was quite funny.
I wasn't sure whether they were getting into an actual fight.
I think it was a friendly fight.
Yeah, okay, that's fine then. But I was just on edge the whole time that Michael Fassbender was in the scene because he could have been about to hit someone with a bottle or something.
He just wanted to run away.
Oh, my favourite scene was every scene with Kate Blanchett.
Oh, okay.
She's amazing. I love her.
Who was Kate Blanchett?
She was his girlfriend for a while, the blonde one.
A slightly older woman before he got back with his original girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like they wasted her in this film.
Yeah, she didn't make a big impression on me.
Also, it was weird that she was so old because when they met, she said like, "Oh, I was away at school in Europe." So, well, yeah, but like 10 years ago, presumably.
Mature student?
Yeah, but who at 40 goes to Europe to study? Also, who says Europe? Is this a thing?
I think Americans do.
Oh, Americans definitely do.
Because that's like,
You been to Europe?
I know, but if you've been studying there, if you've been living somewhere for 4 years,
Yeah, okay.
do you go back home and say, "Oh, I've been in Europe"? Really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Is that a bad thing?
I think so. Well, no, I
So
think,
what country
I mean,
does South America begin with?
Is that probably Colombia?
I think people who try to make some definition usually use the Panama Canal, don't they?
So, what's
Panama.
Panama? in?
So Panama's half and half. Well, I guess a lot of yeah.
It's the Turkey of America.
And this is a good demonstration of how continents are just so bizarrely arbitrary and how they're totally made up because everyone who lives in Latin America thinks of America as one massive continent and everyone who lives in Europe thinks of it as two, just arbitrarily, and we think Europe is different from Asia even though it's just all land in between, like there's no sea or anything. Yeah, continents are just made up.
As our countries, really, aren't they?
As are countries.
yeah.
At least we admit that countries are made up. And people say, like, oh, what continent is Iceland in? Well, it's not really in a continent, it's an island.
Wait, to be more precise, I think I do. When I refer to the place that I've been, I usually just say the United Kingdom instead of Scotland because
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. No, that just, it makes sense. Like, if I went to study in America, I would probably name the state, or if it was a city, I'd say, if it was a well-known city, I'd say the name of the city.
Everyone knows Scotland still, right?
I mean, English people don't.
I wouldn't.
They might
say
not know
United
all the
Kingdom.
ins and outs.
I think you should stop saying United Kingdom.
I mean, that is the country we're living
Just
in.
call it England, like all the English people.
Yeah.
should I just say England? No.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that I'm better. Anyway, she should
do you
have
have
said the
anything
name
else?
of the city she was
Go to
studying
Europe.
in, and she was too old to have just come back from studying in Europe. But also Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett's the best. Kate
Has
Blanchett.
she been in several other films in which she was brilliant?
Yes.
Okay. I must have seen one.
Foremost, The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, Galadriel?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Oh, so she was a good bit older even then.
I suppose.
What
I mean,
was
they
she,
weren't
like-
supposed to look hundreds of years old.
No. But what was she, 40 when she did Lord of the
I don't
Rings?
know. No, I don't think she was that old. I'll look it up.
But that
I
was
guess she
10
has
years ago.
she has a certain maturity, like she wasn't Arwen, who was obviously very young,
Well, she was meant to be quite old.
in Song to Song.
No, in Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, she's meant to be like 3,000 years old, wasn't she?
Well, maybe not 3,000, but yeah, several years old.
I think she was meant to be
3,000 years old.
I think all the elves
She
were...
is 49
She's 49 now.
now.
So she
So
would
that
have
was
been about
15
40.
years ago.
Okay.
34? Yeah, okay.
Just like Professor Brewster. Well, he's 50 now, as of Tuesday. I think.
Is he only 50?
Shouldn't have given him that 60th birthday card.
Yeah, God. Wait, but he had... Well, anyway, we won't get into that.
Any symbolism that anyone wants to...
I'm pretty sure it was just symbolism.
I liked how they used rubbing someone's midriff as a symbol for having sex.
Mm.
Yeah.
How you knew they were going to have sex.
They were pretty obvious about it, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
I found it interesting that only minor characters were allowed to appear topless.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Of the women, anyway.
Yeah, but you have to pay them less.
Yeah, do you have to pay people more to appear topless in a film?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. The topless premium. I don't think they had loads of money for the film.
They probably somehow did have some money, because I assume that using the cameras that they used must have been somehow expensive.
Also, all those actors.
I take it they just
were
had
really
a...
famous, aren't
Yeah, true. They blew them.
Were they like fancy cameras?
Well, I not know what cameras they used, but the way that the movie was filmed makes me think that they did use like
Okay.
expensive cameras.
It was very well shot. I'm sure.
Yeah, it was very nice. I figured they were just using sort of standard professional film cameras.
Maybe.
Maybe they just bought one.
I don't think they bought any, but maybe they were using equipment that you. I just do not know, but
Yeah, I'm guessing the studio has a camera that they let them use. Yeah. There's little things like they were at all these music festivals, and they were right at the side of the stage while the real life people, real life rock stars were playing, and we were to understand that the two men at least were musicians.
And Rooney Mara.
And Rooney Mara was a musician as well, but you never actually see them like playing to a crowd. And I don't know if that was just because they told them, yes, you're allowed to film at the concert, but you're not allowed to interrupt the concert.
Well, there was that bit. So when you see Rooney Mara on stage at the end, it's as if I think it's supposed to seem like she's playing guitar with Patti Smith, and I think that might be like a green screen.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not convinced she was standing on that stage.
Yeah.
No, that bit where she's playing with Jimi Hendrix doesn't seem quite right.
Yeah,
either,
not
does
quite
it?
right.
No, I think it just wasn't the point that you were supposed to see anything happening. That would have that would have counted as something happening.
That would have counted as something happening, wouldn't it? Oh, God. Oh, it was just them walking in and out of rooms and
Strange, bizarre
staring
glass
at each other
rooms.
and touching things
And each other.
and each other.
Now that you describe it again, I'm liking it even better now.
Me too.
I've got symbolism.
Oh yeah, yeah.
None of the apartments had any stuff in them.
Oh.
They were
Well,
all
they
like,
did. Did they not?
like there was never anything like in the cupboards or drawers or anything. So it was like
A table.
the emptiness of their lives being represented.
And how terrible and miserable their lives were was reflected in the experience of watching the film.
Shall I play the music?
Is there anything else anyone wants to... Overall, would you give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down for a film?
I'd go right in the middle and do this.
I would give it a thumbs up.
I'd give it both. Can I do both?
That's not really in the spirit of thumbs up or thumbs
You can,
down.
I suppose you can not vote.
I abstain.
Typical.
They're still going to send the gladiator to death. I would give it a thumbs down.
I think I'll go thumbs up then, just to balance it.
God damn it. I give it a thumbs up. Not my film.
Okay.
Not the right film for
Wait,
me.
does that mean perhaps the last question could be Night of Cops is meant to be very similar to this one. Would you watch it?
No.
Hmm.
If you choose it for the film club, I will watch
No,
it. I'll
no,
watch
no, no.
anything. But I wouldn't be in a hurry to watch anything else that's meant to be similar.
Okay.
Um,
I'm actually quite interested in a film that is perhaps similar but not in the same spirit. Is precisely The Great Beauty,
okay.
which I also very much liked, but perhaps has a script and a clear story. Well, I'm not sure if it's clear.
Characters
But-
that have conversations.
Yes, it's more of a conventional film.
Okay, that
What would even the
that
script look
could
like
take
for
me a
this?
long-
It's probably about a page
I
long.
believe it did not have a script.
Oh,
I
right.
assume a lot of it was improvised.
Yes, I believe I read somewhere that I did not have a script. So yeah, I suppose I would be interested in you watching that film and knowing your opinion.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
do you
Great
think they just
Beauty.
filmed loads of scenes? They were like, alright, so we need a scene where you like each other. And then they filmed that. And then like, okay, now we need one where you're really angry with each other, but you're trying to hide it. And then at the end they were like, right, let's stitch them together. And we'll try and make a story.
And then they decided just not to bother and just play them in any order.
They're like, oh, we'll have someone voice over. We'll make it work.
They were like, this scene makes too much sense of the story. Cut it.
Yeah.
Take that one out so it makes less sense. I want the audience to work to understand.
There's a play like that. I think it's called 52.
Oh, 52.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we
they-
saw it, didn't we?
Yeah, it was on here. And it's a two-hander, and they throw a deck of cards on the ground at the start, and then take it in turns to pick up cards. And there's a scene based on, like, the scene that relates to that card. And the idea is it can go together in any order. So maybe it was
Oh,
like the
maybe it
film
was like
version of that.
That had scenes where people talk to each other and stuff. Again, I'm sort of okay with films that have things out of order and you piece them together a bit as long as there's anything to piece together. Like, as long as there's scenes that have something in them.
They did talk to each other. It was just spaced over several different scenes.
Yeah.
One would ask a question, the reply would come
Yeah.
half an hour later in a different context. Also, Rooney Mara did not speak for about the first half an hour. All
she
of the
not?
men just talked to her. She just kind of like wafts around like a
She was
breeze.
doing the voiceover though, wasn't
She did do the voiceover, to be fair to her.
But you're right, she didn't talk to anyone.
No.
Even when they asked her direct questions that aren't difficult to answer.
Who are you? You can lie to me.
Which is a very confusing thing for him to say because he later seemed like he did not like being lied to at all.
I know. Liar.
Bloody men. Never tell where their heads at.
Hey. That was a weird film. Thank you for choosing it because it was interesting. It was
Is that
worth
how I felt with the
discussing.
breadwinner? When you were all like, thanks for choosing that.
Oh, I hope I wasn't too harsh about the breadwinner because there was a lot I did like about the
I
breadwinner.
love the
No, that's
breadwinner.
alright. Yes, you did that.
There wasn't a lot I loved about this one. The breadwinner had many redeeming features.
This one?
A
Some.
few redeeming features.
It had Ryan Gosling.
It had Ryan Gosling. It wasn't too noisy. It was.
Or not.
I liked the aspect ratio.
The lighting was good.
Yeah, no, the camera work and stuff was excellent. There was a lot of beautiful stuff, and including actors. And for that alone, yeah, it's got something going for it.
Okay.
Great. Lovely.